In the tranquil embrace of an early May morning, Elizabeth Clayton, known affectionately as Ellie, stood by the window, her gaze tenderly fixed on the garden below. There beneath the delicate canopy of a Japanese maple, her 8-month-old daughter Emma lay in her bassinet, rocked gently by the whispering breeze. Each sway of the cradle filled Ellie with a profound sense of joy and fulfillment. Once a buyer at a prestigious New York department store, she had traded the hustle of retail for the serene, albeit demanding world of motherhood. As she savored her coffee, she felt an unshakable conviction that this was the best choice she had ever made. "Is Emma still asleep?" Michael's voice, soft yet weary, broke through her reverie. Emerging from his office, his gentle brown eyes betrayed the fatigue of long hours spent in virtual meetings, yet they sparkled with warmth and love. Despite his demanding role as an engineer at an IT firm, he always made time for his family, often stepping in to share the load of childcare. "Yes, she finally drifted off," Ellie replied, her voice a mixture of relief and hope. "She was up all night crying, so I hope today she finds some peace." Michael approached, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, his presence comforting. "You're doing such a wonderful job. Emma is truly blessed to have you," he murmured, and Ellie leaned into him, basking in their shared tranquility. Their moment of peace was abruptly shattered by the shrill ring of Ellie's cell phone. Glancing at the screen, she sighed. "It's Vanessa again." Before she could even answer, she knew what her sister wanted. Vanessa, a manager at a high-end boutique downtown, was ever vigilant about the latest trends and status symbols. "Ellie, are you using that crib yet?" she asked, her voice tinged with the impatience of someone always on the move. Ellie's heart skipped a beat, hoping it wasn't Vanessa again, with another piece of unsolicited advice. She hesitated before answering, her thumb hovering over the screen. The voice on the other end was softer, more understanding. "Ellie, it's Aunt Clara. I was wondering how you and the baby are doing." Her voice, a soothing melody amidst the discordant symphony of family pressures, brought a smile to Ellie's lips. "Oh, Aunt Clara, it's been quite the week." Ellie sighed, her voice a mix of relief and fatigue. "Vanessa is still pushing for the elite sleeper, and Mom, well, she's disappointed to say the least." Aunt Clara chuckled warmly. "Oh dear, why must everything be a spectacle? Does Emma not thrive in her bassinet? Isn't that what matters?" Ellie's eyes sparkled with gratitude. "Exactly, she's growing so fast, and the bassinet has been her haven." She paused, the weight of her family's expectations momentarily lifting. "Why can't they just let us be?" The conversation flowed effortlessly with Aunt Clara, who had always been the voice of reason in a family often swayed by appearances. She reminded Ellie of the joys of motherhood beyond the superficial. "Remember, Ellie, it's about the love you give, not the labels on the baby gear." As they talked, Michael returned from the kitchen, a cup of tea in hand, offering it to Ellie with a knowing look. "Is it Aunt Clara?" he whispered, his eyes twinkling, with a shared understanding of the relief her calls always brought. "Yes, and she's a breath of fresh air," Ellie replied, her voice softening as she listened to Aunt Clara's gentle wisdom. The call ended, and Ellie leaned back, the tension easing from her shoulders. Michael sat beside her, his presence comforting his silence, speaking volumes of support. In the quietude of their living room, with Emma's soft coos floating from the bassinet, Ellie reflected on her family's dynamics. Why was it so hard for them to understand that her choices were not a reflection of their worth, but a testament to her commitment to Emma's well-being? The phone rang again, this time with a different urgency, pulling Ellie back into the reality of familial expectations. With a sigh of relief, Ellie dialed Rachel, her confidant and former colleague from the department store, one of the rare connections she had preserved from those bustling days. "Rachel, I really need to talk to you," Ellie said, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "What's the matter? You sound like you've been through the ringer," Rachel replied, concern lacing her words. "It's my family again, pressuring me about the crib." Ellie confessed, her voice a mix of frustration and fatigue. "Ah, the elite sleeper. Still not using it?" Rachel's tone was teasing, yet gentle, aware of the tension it stirred. Ellie paused, gathering her thoughts. "Actually, I'm not planning to use it." "Why not?" Rachel's surprise was palpable. "I'll explain, but I'd rather do it face-to-face," Ellie suggested, hoping for the comfort of a personal touch. "Okay, how about lunch tomorrow at that little cafe we both love?" "That would be wonderful," Ellie agreed, her heart lifting slightly at the prospect of sharing her burden. After hanging up, Ellie turned to find Michael watching her, his eyes questioning. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice soft with concern. Ellie settled back into the plush cushions of the sofa, choosing her words with care. "There's something about the crib I need to discuss with you." Just then, Emma's cries pierced the tranquility, pulling Michael to his feet. "Let's talk later," he said, heading towards the garden. As Michael left, Ellie felt a tug at her heart caught between her family's expectations and her fierce protectiveness over her daughter. Perhaps her conversation with Rachel would shed light on her path forward. At least Rachel, with her understanding nature, would offer not just an ear, but perhaps a solution. 3 months prior, Ellie's baby shower had unfolded like a scene from a fairy tale at her parents' expansive suburban retreat. Pastel balloons danced in the gentle breeze, and an array of delicate finger foods adorned tables amidst a gathering of friends and family. Ellie, glowing with the promise of new life, greeted everyone with a radiant smile, her hands cradling her burgeoning belly. As the gifts were presented, her mother Carol announced with a flourish, "And now we have something truly special." Thomas and Vanessa wheeled in a large, beautifully wrapped box. "This is from all of us," her mother beamed. Ellie, with trembling fingers, unveiled an elegant baby crib, its craftsmanship a testament to the love and anticipation surrounding her child's arrival. The interior of the elite sleeper, with its lustrous white wood and intricate gold embellishments, was nothing short of breathtaking. "It's perfect for you, sis," Vanessa exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with delight. "It'll complement your minimalist decor beautifully, isn't it? Just divine." Carol nodded in agreement, adding, "It's all the rage among celebrity moms. That Hollywood star, you know she has one too. Consider yourself blessed with this luxury." Ellie's gaze lingered on the spot where the price tag should have been, but she knew all too well the reputation of the brand. The cost was likely more than half her monthly earnings. "Thank you, really," she managed, her voice faltering. "Thank you for such a thoughtful gift." Yet beneath her gratitude, discomfort simmered. Why hadn't Vanessa and her parents discussed this with her and Michael, who had already picked out a simple, practical crib? After the celebration, as Michael was loading gifts into the car, Vanessa seized Ellie's arm. "Thanks for putting on a brave face in front of everyone," she whispered. "I could see you weren't thrilled at first, but trust me, this crib will make you the envy of all the other moms." Ellie mustered a smile. "I was just taken aback, that's all." "Thank you, really." Back at home, Ellie delved into the instruction manual for the baby crib. It was filled with grandiose descriptions of luxury materials and innovative design phrases like, "the ultimate sleep experience chosen by celebrity children," repeated ad nauseum. Yet curiously, there was scant information on safety or material specifics. "Something bothering you?" Michael asked, peering over her shoulder at the manual. "I'm not sure." Ellie frowned. "Something feels off." She pulled out her smartphone and searched for reviews on the elite sleeper baby crib. The screen filled with images of celebrities and influencers proudly displaying their infants with the same crib, but practical reviews were almost non-existent. The next day, Ellie met Rachel at the cafe. "Oh, it certainly looks beautiful," Rachel exclaimed, her eyes wide with admiration as she gazed at the photo of the baby crib on Ellie's smartphone. Yet her enthusiasm was tinged with a hint of skepticism. "But it prioritizes appearance over practicality," she mused with a shrug. "Isn't it odd that there's so little detailed information about safety?" she pondered aloud. Ellie sighed in relief, a weight lifting from her shoulders. "I thought I was just being neurotic," she confessed. "You're a mother," Rachel reassured her with a warm smile. "You have every right to be neurotic." That weekend, Ellie and Michael embarked on the task of assembling the baby crib. The parts from the box felt luxurious, and the assembly instructions were as clear as the morning sky. However, as they neared completion, Ellie was struck by an unnaturally potent smell emanating from the crib. "Doesn't this smell strange?" she asked Michael, her voice laced with concern. Michael leaned in, sniffing cautiously. It has a bit of that new product smell, but I'm sure it'll fade away," he suggested, trying to ease her worries. Ellie wasn't convinced. She held Emma close, bringing her near the crib. To her dismay, the usually serene Emma suddenly became agitated, rubbing her small hands against her face. "What's wrong, Emma?" Ellie whispered, her concern deepening as small red spots began to appear on Emma's cheeks. With urgency, Ellie whisked her daughter away to another room. Within minutes, the rash began to fade, and Emma's calm returned. The next day, driven by a mother's intuition, Ellie conducted an experiment. When she brought Emma near the crib again, the reaction was immediate and alarming. This time, Emma even started coughing. "Michael!" Ellie called out, her voice trembling with anxiety. "There's something wrong with this bed. Emma seems to be having an allergic reaction." Initially skeptical, Michael's demeanor shifted when Ellie showed him the photos on her smartphone. Emma's red rash near the crib, contrasting starkly with her normal skin, went away from it. "What could be causing this?" He frowned, his mind racing with possibilities. "I don't know," Ellie admitted, her voice a mix of worry and determination. "But I think we should stop using it." That afternoon, driven by a mother's protective instincts, Ellie secretly, with a heart as heavy as the stone of doubt, Ellie purchased another baby crib from a charming local children's boutique. She chose one that was not only simple and practical, but also bore the hallmark of safety with its clearly displayed standards. Setting up the sanctuary of slumber in another room, she began to transition Emma into this new haven. The baby, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing, showed no signs of distress. However, the real tempest raged in Ellie's relationships. "How's the crib? Does Emma like it?" Vanessa's messages arrived like clockwork, each one a gentle prod at Ellie's conscience. "It's lovely, thank you," Ellie would reply, her words laced with the bitter taste of deceit. The request for photos didn't just come from Vanessa, her mother chimed in too. Ellie's excuses became as rehearsed as a script. "She's sleeping right now," or "Let me tidy up first," or "I'll take a nice photo this weekend." Today, Michael had returned home earlier than usual, his face etched with concern. He sat Ellie down on the sofa, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that demanded truth. "I want you to be honest," he said, his voice steady but serious. "Why aren't you using that luxury baby crib? I know you're hiding another bed because of concern for family, but why?" Ellie inhaled deeply, the weight of her secret pressing down. "See for yourself." She smiled, a gesture more of relief than joy. With a puzzled look, Michael lifted Emma into his arms and approached the elite sleeper. As he attempted to lay her down, Emma's small body began to rebel, her arms and legs flailing in distress. The moment he placed her in the bed, her skin erupted in angry welts, her tiny frame racked with coughs. "My goodness!" Michael's voice trembled as he swiftly lifted Emma, his face drained of color. Ellie took their daughter, soothing her with gentle pats. "This is what I wanted to tell you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Something from the bed is causing Emma to have an allergic reaction." Michael's resolve hardened, his expression now one of fierce determination. "We need to investigate this. It isn't just a sensitivity issue. It could be something serious." Ellie gazed at her husband, feeling the first genuine wave of relief wash over her. At least now he was on her side. With a heavy heart, Ellie gazed into the future, knowing well the storm of conflict that would soon cloud her family's horizon. "Your mom and the others are coming next week, right?" she inquired, her voice tinged with apprehension. Michael, his face a canvas of concern, gave a slow nod of affirmation. "We'll have to explain," he said. "Do you think they'll understand?" "I don't know," Michael replied with a candor that spoke volumes of his own uncertainty. "But Emma's health comes first, that's for sure." Holding Emma close, Ellie felt a surge of anxiety about the impending family showdown, yet her resolve to shield her daughter's safety was unshakable. The morning light brought with it a new resolve. Michael called his company, requesting time off, with a determination that painted relief across Ellie's face. "How should we investigate?" she asked, her fingers wrapped around a warm mug of coffee as she sat at the kitchen table. Michael flipped open his laptop, his brow furrowed in thought. "First, we need to identify what this is. Let's collect samples from the bed." Ellie nodded, her mind racing. "Rachel's friend Natalie is a medical journalist. I'll try contacting her." The sight of Michael meticulously examining the baby crib, his fingers delicately collecting samples from areas where the odor was most potent, stirred something within Ellie. Until yesterday, she had feared her concerns might be mere overreactions, but now the gravity of their joint endeavor enveloped her. "My college friend David is a pediatrician." Michael chimed in, his voice a beacon of hope. "He might be able to arrange tests." Ellie's fingers danced across her smartphone screen, searching for elite sleeper health issues. The initial results were a sea of corporate press releases and glowing reviews, but as she delved deeper, her frown deepened. "This is strange," she muttered, noticing several social media links with content has been removed messages. There are lots of deleted posts. Michael peered over her shoulder, his eyes narrowing. That's suspicious. Something might be being covered up. That afternoon, the air was thick with tension as Ellie met with Rachel and her friend Natalie, a journalist whose pen had often championed the safety of children's products. Actually, Natalie began, her voice thoughtful as she took a sip of coffee. I think I've heard something about... With a sense of urgency, Ellie flipped open her laptop, her fingers dancing across the keys as she navigated through her digital archives. Here it is, she exclaimed, her voice laced with both excitement and concern. Last year, a blogger had mysteriously deleted all her content after posting a scathing review of the Elite Sleeper. I found it utterly bizarre and tried to reach out to her. Ellie recounted, her eyes narrowing as she recalled the odd silence that followed. She wouldn't talk. It seemed like there was some legal issue at play. The room fell into a tense silence as the three women exchanged uneasy glances. So you're implying that someone might be covering up known defects? Rachel's voice trembled with the weight of the implication. It's a possibility, Natalie responded, her tone measured yet resolute. I need to delve deeper into this. 2 days later, Michael's phone shattered the quiet with its sudden ring. It was David, his voice tight with tension. Mike, the lab results for your samples are in. I'm afraid it's grim news. Michael switched to speakerphone, allowing Ellie to lean in, her expression anxious. What did you find? She asked, her voice quivering. High levels of formaldehyde and a type of flame retardant that's been banned for years, David explained. They're especially concentrated in the wood finish and adhesives. These chemicals can certainly cause skin irritation and respiratory issues. Ellie and Michael exchanged a look, their hands trembling as they clutched the phone. David, thank you, Michael managed to say, his voice thick with emotion. Is there anything we can do? I'll compile an official report, David assured. This product shouldn't be on the market. I recommend reporting this to the Consumer Product Safety Commission. After the call ended, a heavy silence enveloped them. Tears of anger and sorrow brimmed in Ellie's eyes. Our family gave Emma poison as a gift, she whispered, her voice breaking. Michael squeezed her hand, his own heart heavy. They didn't intend harm, but now we must uncover the truth. That night, Natalie's call brought a spark of hope. Ellie, your suspicions were justified, she said, her voice animated with discovery. According to my inside sources, the Elite Sleeper, the brand promises allure and prestige, yet behind the scenes their products are hastily assembled in unlicensed factories in China. They exploit connections to sidestep safety standards. But aren't American safety standards supposed to be stringent? Ellie asked, her voice laced with confusion and concern. That's the crux of the issue. They've cleverly reclassified their products as high-end furniture, thus dodging the stringent testing mandated for children's items. Moreover, they shower celebrities with free samples, leveraging their influence to keep any whispers of discontent at bay. Ellie's heart pounded with fury. So other babies are at risk too? Her resolve crystallized as she turned to social media, her fingers trembling as she typed out her harrowing experience and a stark warning. But mere hours later, her post vanished, replaced by a chilling email from Elite Sleeper's legal department. Spreading false claims about our product constitutes defamation. The message read, sending shivers down her spine. That weekend, Vanessa and their parents arrived at Ellie's home as planned. She greeted them with a strained smile, cradling Emma in her arms. Emma, you've grown so much, Carol exclaimed, reaching out for her granddaughter. Ellie handed Emma over and led the family into the living room. But Vanessa's gaze was immediately drawn to the new baby crib in the corner. What's this? She asked, an eyebrow arched in surprise. Where's the crib we gave you? Ellie inhaled deeply, steadying herself. I have something to discuss. She began, her voice quivering as she recounted the crib's perilous flaws. As she detailed the test results, her mother's face grew stern. Vanessa, however, folded her arms dismissively. You're just being paranoid, she scoffed coldly. Thousands of babies use that crib, and I've heard no complaints. Really, Ellie challenged, her voice rising with urgency. Because the information is being deliberately buried. Carol sighed, the weight of the revelation pressing down on the room. In our time, Elizabeth, we never fretted over these chemicals that seem to haunt the minds of today's young parents, like you, Ellie. You all worry excessively about every little thing. Ellie, struggling to keep her anger in check, responded. Mom, this isn't about being overly cautious. Emma actually showed symptoms. She got a rash and her cough was incessant. Thomas, breaking his silence, chimed in. If there's truly an issue, isn't it worth exploring? Carol's gaze sharpened, her accusation piercing the air as she turned to her husband. Are you siding with her now? The argument escalated, and when Carol criticized, your parenting is too perfectionist, Ellie's composure shattered. With a voice quivering with emotion, she retorted, Are you valuing appearances over your granddaughter's health? She continued, This crib is making Emma sick. The room fell into a heavy silence, thick with tension. Just then, Michael returned from work, the atmosphere thick with unspoken words. He quickly grasped the gravity of the situation. Let me show you something, Michael said, his voice a calming whisper amidst the storm. He gently brought out the elite sleeper, placing it in the heart of the living room. May I hold Emma? He asked Carol, who with reluctance passed her granddaughter into his arms. As Michael held Emma close to the crib under the watchful eyes of the family, red spots began to emerge on her delicate skin, and her cough returned. Swiftly, he moved her away, disbelief etched on Thomas's face. I can't believe it, he murmured. Rachel and Natalie entered at that very moment. Natalie, with a determined click of her laptop, displayed the evidence she had compiled. This is consumer fraud, she declared passionately. These products are sold at premium prices for their allure, but they fail to meet basic safety standards. Carol, overwhelmed, sank into the sofa, speechless. Thomas shook his head, his disappointment palpable. To think we entrusted our granddaughter with such a thing. Yet Vanessa, still not swayed, worried aloud. What will happen to me if this goes public? I recommended it on Instagram. Ellie, hearing this, felt a wave of desperation wash over her. Ellie's voice trembled with resolve as she cradled Emma close, her eyes burning with a fierce determination that belied the turmoil within. I choose my daughter's safety over any family appearances, she declared, her voice unwavering despite the storm brewing around her. And for the sake of other babies too, I will reveal the truth. The room seemed to hold its breath, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air, a clear testament to the deep rift tearing through the family. Thomas, with a hint of understanding in his eyes, nodded slightly, though his wife Carol and Vanessa turned away, their faces etched with the dread of impending embarrassment. Yet Ellie was resolute. She knew the battle ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the fight for truth and safety was now her crusade. The next morning, the sharp ping of a notification sliced through the quiet of Ellie's bedroom. Her heart sank as she glimpsed Vanessa's Instagram post, a glossy picture of a luxurious weekend, captioned with a poignant reflection on family ties. Sadly, some people just can't understand the value of luxury items. Nin, family bonds, Chan, misunderstood. The words stung, a direct jab at Ellie's recent stand. Vanessa and Carol had left in a huff the night before, their anger palpable. Only Thomas had offered a gentle pat on her shoulder, his voice low and comforting. I'll look into it. You okay? As Michael entered with the comforting aroma of coffee, Ellie handed him her phone, her expression a mix of frustration and resolve. Vanessa has started throwing shade on social media, she explained, her voice tinged with sadness. Michael's frown deepened as he scrolled through the comments where friends rallied around Ellie. Rachel's comment stood out. Safety should be the priority. Setting her phone aside, Ellie's determination flared anew while she prepared Emma's milk. If I stay quiet, other babies will be at risk, she murmured to herself, her resolve hardening like steel. That afternoon, she reached out to her local mothers group, posing a question about the safety of baby products, steering clear of brand names. Instead, she framed it as a broader discussion on the safety of design-focused luxury items, her words echoing her unwavering commitment to protect not just her child but all children. The overwhelming response took Ellie aback. She discovered that many mothers shared her concerns. One woman confessed, "My child too developed a rash from a so-called luxury brand product." Another whispered rumors that some companies might even counterfeit safety certificates. As Ellie was digesting this information, her smartphone erupted with a piercing ring. An email from an unknown number flashed on the screen. Miss Elizabeth Clayton, this is the legal department of Elite Sleeper Company. Spreading false information about our products constitutes defamation and business obstruction. Please contact us urgently regarding this matter." Her hands quivered at the sight of the message. Michael, sensing her distress, gently placed his hand on her shoulder, whispering, "Don't be afraid, Ellie. You're doing the right thing." The very next day, fueled by determination, Ellie and Michael marched into the Consumer Safety Agency to file a formal complaint. They submitted David's test results and the trove of evidence Natalie had collected. To their relief, the process was smoother than anticipated, though the official cautioned, "The investigation will take time." A few days later, Rachel's voice burst through the phone with an idea. "Why don't we organize a workshop tomorrow at the Mothers Group about baby product safety? Natalie says she can speak as an expert." Ellie, taken aback, responded, "Really, I'm a bit scared after getting those warning emails from the manufacturer." Rachel's voice was firm. "That's precisely why it's crucial. They want to silence you, but you're not alone." The workshop was set at the local community center. To their surprise, it attracted a larger crowd than expected. Natalie delved into the intricacies of safety standards for children's products, while Ellie recounted her journey as a concerned consumer. She refrained from naming brands, opting instead for the general term, luxury baby crib. Her voice trembled with emotion as she concluded, "What I want to emphasize is the importance of not judging solely by price or appearance, but investigating safety on your own." Midway through her presentation, the door swung open with a force that echoed through the room. Vanessa stormed in, her face contorted with anger. "How dare you do this?" she seethed, her voice quivering. "You're ruining the family's reputation." As the venue fell into a hushed silence, Ellie inhaled deeply, steadying herself. "Vanessa, let's not hash this out here," she implored, her voice tinged with urgency. "I'll prove it to everyone." But Vanessa, undeterred, persisted. "My sister is just being overly dramatic." Ellie's gaze shifted to Michael, who gave a slight nod of affirmation. Rising from his seat, cradling Emma, he stepped forward. "I'll show you the evidence," Ellie whispered, her eyes signaling to Michael. He retrieved a prepared sample of the elite sleeper from his bag, presenting it near Emma. Instantly, a reaction manifested on the baby's delicate skin. The audience gasped, a collective intake of breath, piercing the quiet. "This is no act," Ellie declared, her voice firm, yet quivering with emotion. "As mothers, isn't it our sacred duty to shield our children from harm, even if our own family fails to understand?" Her eyes locked onto Vanessa, whose face was a storm of anger, confusion, and a flicker of shame. "Are you truly selling products that put babies at risk?" Vanessa's voice dropped to a near whisper. "What I'm saying is we shouldn't prioritize appearances over safety." The meeting had caught the attention of a local news reporter, and by the next morning a brief feature was broadcasted. 3 days later, Ellie's interview was included, and a week after that, a press release announced that the Consumer Safety Agency had initiated an investigation into the elite sleeper. Shortly thereafter, the manufacturer announced a voluntary product recall for quality improvements. Learning of this, Ellie felt a surge of achievement, yet a profound fatigue washed over her. She had won the battle, but at what cost to her family bonds? Sitting on her porch, contemplating, she was unexpectedly visited by her mother, Carol. "May I come in?" Carol's voice was unusually meek. Ellie nodded, and as they sat, the silence was heavy. "You were right," Carol finally said, her eyes meeting Ellie's. "Mom, listen," Ellie began, her voice soft. "I was wrong to criticize your parenting. You truly are an exemplary mother, Elizabeth." Tears shimmered in Ellie's eyes as she clasped her mother's hand, a silent testament to the emotional turmoil of the past. That night in the sanctuary of their kitchen, Michael enveloped Ellie in a warm embrace. "You did the right thing. You're the best mother," he whispered, his voice a soothing balm to her troubled soul. Gazing upon Emma's serene, slumbering face, Ellie felt a profound peace. The rift with her family, she believed, would mend with time, and most crucially, she harbored no regrets for following her instincts and standing firm to shield her daughter. 6 months later, the air was sweet with the scent of blooming flowers as Ellie invited her family to their home. A brunch spread adorned the garden table, where Emma, now a year and a half and beginning to toddle, played joyfully beneath the gentle shade of morning glories. Ellie stood glass in hand, her voice quivering with excitement. "I have something to share with everyone," she announced. The family turned their attention to her, eyes wide with anticipation. "We're expecting our second child." Cheers filled the air, and Carol wrapped her daughter in a heartfelt hug. "Congratulations, Elizabeth!" Thomas, with tears in his eyes, clapped Michael on the back. Over these months, family bonds had begun to knit back together. Elite Sleeper had recalled all their products, unveiling new models that met stringent safety standards. They never openly admitted their past errors, but the industry had learned a valuable lesson. "Look at this," Vanessa exclaimed, showing Ellie her smartphone. Her Instagram, once a gallery of luxury, now bore hashtags like shocker, practical choices, and child safety. "At the store, I only deal with products that have safety certification now," she confessed, a hint of embarrassment in her tone. After the incident, she had lost some of her social media sway, but now she had carved out a new path. "That's wonderful, Vanessa." Ellie responded, her sincerity palpable. Carol, holding Em on her lap, added, "Safety is more important than appearances." Though she occasionally slipped back into old habits, her grandchild's well-being was now her priority. After lunch, Thomas took Ellie aside, his voice low and earnest. "Your courageous action was right." He began his words carrying the weight of a father's pride and relief. With a raw honesty that cut through the silence, Ellie's father admitted, "I should have stood by you sooner." Ellie, with a gentle squeeze of her father's arm, replied, "It's okay, Dad." She knew that family, in all its imperfection, held lessons of growth and understanding for each other. That very evening, Rachel came over. She and Natalie were fervently continuing their campaign to raise awareness about baby product safety, a cause ignited by Ellie's courageous stand. "You've saved so many babies' lives," Rachel exclaimed, embracing Ellie. "You should be proud." After Michael had tenderly tucked their daughter into bed, he joined Ellie on the porch swing, where they watched the sky blush with the hues of twilight. Ellie felt a serene contentment envelop her. "It was tough," Michael whispered, his hand enveloping hers. "Confronting family was painful," Ellie responded with candence. "But I'm glad I stood up for my child's safety." In the tranquil bedroom, Ellie gazed upon her sleeping Emma, the soft glow of the nightlight casting gentle shadows. Emma lay peacefully in her safe wooden crib, and beside it, space was already prepared for the next baby. From this ordeal, Ellie had learned the paramount importance of trusting her maternal instincts, understanding that sometimes, even when it means facing those dearest to you, the courage to speak up for your children is essential. As moonlight filtered through the window, Ellie's hand rested on her stomach, feeling the new life stirring within. She was ready now, more than ever, to protect her children in any circumstance, for that is the essence of a mother's undying love. Thank you for joining us on this heartfelt journey. If Ellie's story has touched you, please leave a comment, give a like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that celebrate the strength and love of families. Remember, your voice can change lives just like Ellie's did.